guys, good morning, good afternoon. I hope you're doing fantastic. I wanted to come to you today and supplement some of the content-driven conversation that we're going to be having over the course of the next few weeks through our video cast with just some commentary on the idea of design and why design really matters when it comes to learning. So to illustrate our point, I want you to think back to the last learning event or workshop that you were a part of, that you went to as an attendee. And I want you to think about that experience for a minute. For some of us, we had a really fantastic time. The content was really well laid out. It was easy to follow. The visuals or the slides that the presenter used to present the content were thoughtful and laid out, and that it wasn't death by PowerPoint. We didn't feel overwhelmed with the material on the screen, but rather that maybe the presenter kind of told a story and kind of used a narrative style rather than relying solely on those PowerPoint slides. For others of us, we had a terrible experience, right? The presenter was completely slide driven. They read totally off the slides. We that could have actually not been there. We'd have just read the slides to ourselves, right? The participant's guide that you would have gotten when you walked in, or the workbook that you would have gotten when you walked in, was poorly laid out. It was poorly designed. It was clearly the presenter didn't put a lot of thought into this, right? There were no job aids. There was nothing to make things easy. You went there and you left, and you really weren't sure what you left with, right? At the center of this is the idea of design and why design matters. So when we take the time to think out our design, we take the time to think out and lay out our content and our visuals in a way that can really convey our meaning, we can elevate the impact of our learning event. Now, I wanted to mention a couple of books to you that may be helpful. Now, these books are not required for you to buy, but they are books that I use when I develop my own visual guides and my own slides. And so I just wanted to share them with you in case you may want to invest in them yourselves. Now, again, we won't be talking about these in class, but I think you'll find that the principles these books really talk about can be quite helpful for you. The first book that I would introduce you to is Dan Rome's Blah, 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 which is What to Do When Words Don't Work. Now, sometimes we have ideas, right? And we can't think of the words. We really want to present this in a visually impactful way, and this book helps us get there. And there's a sister or brother book to this called On the Back of the Napkin, which is an equally outstanding book. Both of these books would be fantastic for you to pick up, and they present actual methods for getting to a place where your message is very meaningful. Now, this is all about content and driving ideas. Now, once you get the ideas taken care of, there are a couple of other books that I would recommend for you. I'm a big Gar Reynolds fan, and I like to use the first book that I would introduce you to is Presentation Zen Design. This is a book about taking your presentation and really creating a streamlined look based on Zen-like principles. So here's what I love about this book. It's chock full of examples, right? And I work really well with examples. Here we go. I work really well with examples. And so I can look through here and I can look at different fonts, and I can look at the way someone might take an idea that might be similar to something that I've got and lay that out visually in a really meaningful and impactful way. The other book I like to use, and oftentimes we'll teach with at the graduate level, is this book, Presentation Zen. And this is about taking, again, your presentation, but now not just the visual layout, but the design and then the delivery of that content. So 4 books that could be very helpful for you by 2 different authors, Dan Rome and then Gar Reynolds. I would recommend, if you're interested in the idea of design and laying out very impactful learning events, these books could be really helpful for you. Now, again, toward the end of our class, you're going to be tasked with the idea of presenting a participant's guide and slides or some kind of visual, right, that guides your learner. Design matters, right? If it mattered to you when you were in the learning event or the workshop that you thought about earlier, then design matters here too. Design is going to impact the way people relate and interact and react to the content that you're giving to them. So just a couple of quick tips and thoughts about design. More to come in the next few weeks as we dig into more content. Guys, until next time.